What's up, everybody? Lost Boy Skates here. Welcome back to the Skateboard channel. We have a very special guest with us today. Zach, go ahead and introduce yourself.
How's it going? I'm Zach from Skate Wagon.
Okay. Um, so when did you start skateboarding?
So I think if I traced it back right, I got my first skateboard, like actual skateboard at like 8 or 9, but I like really started taking it serious around like 10 or 11. Like growing up, I always had some like hand me down, but then at my like eighth or ninth birthday, I was like given a complete. So that kind of like spark, like as a kid having like a fresh board, it was like super exciting. And then by like I said, 10 or 11, I just like found a group of friends that liked that. I mean, at that age, I was also just like riding bike and shit, but just always kind of stayed from like 10 on just into it.
Yeah, I started out actually BMXing from like 10 to 12 and then stopped BMXing and started skateboarding. And I went almost pro actually at 19, but then I broke my leg and I had to
Oh
stop
shit.
skating for years. And then I didn't pick it back up until I was like 27. So, what are some of your favorite or signature tricks that you like to do?
Uh, I mean, favorite trick, it just all really depends on like the obstacle at hand. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I like skating a whole bunch of different stuff and like weird stuff. I don't know. Like Euros are super fun, but then I'm also like really into transition and like a good spine, especially like a mini with a spine. That's the hot ticket right there. I'll be there all day on something like that. But
Yeah,
again, it just comes down to like whatever's in front of me. I always find fun in whatever is there, you know?
I think one of my favorite things about you is like I like to watch you just cruise. Like I remember watching you really cruise around Garage Door and just that spine and that mini ramp. You just were really putting together like you did like a wall plant. Like you put your feet on the wall and I think you spun the board under your feet. I was like, what the hell was that? But it was
Yeah.
gnarly to watch go down because
Yeah, it's almost like a sweeper on the wall. That's a
yeah.
little bite of like Brian Sieber. There's like this old photo of Brian like wall planting in the warehouse
Hmm.
with I can't remember who, maybe Nick or something, like just slashing under him or something. And
Hmm.
it's like that's so cool to me, like just jumping out of the fucking ramp and then like back into it. And it's just like, I don't know. That contest, I was like watching what everyone was doing. I was like, all right, I tried this earlier. It really like wasn't working too well, but like I'll just like throw it and see what happens. And like it just like I don't know, it like worked right then and there. It was so
Hmm.
odd for that run. Like
Yeah, I mean, but that's always what makes contests like so much fun is like watching other people in practice and then you figure out, okay, I didn't see anybody try this trick. Let me try this.
and
Um,
that's the thing too, is I try and tell kids that all the time is like with contests first, it always comes down to like you want to land things. Like you don't want to just be
mhm,
hucking things right away. Like maybe the first trick, yeah, huck something if you are really feeling it, but like most of the times you want to leave that for like the end. You know what I mean? Especially if you're
mhm.
not like certain you're gonna do it. Because like
Yeah.
all the young kids will be like, oh, like runs, like it'll get bummed down. I'm like, dude, you guys have that. Like you just are
Mhm.
thinking way too far into like the tricks that you want to be doing, but like do the ones that you can do. And like that's really what those contests come down to is like consistency, especially with the best run stuff.
Yeah, my issue with best run is always my anxiety gets the best of me. I'll land my line Winter Wagon. I landed it like four times in a row. And old ginger bastard was like, "Yo, you've got this, dude. Like, you're gonna have a really good run if you land everything." And I'm like, "Yeah." Get started and fuck up on the big spin, because I was going too fast, and I was like, "Ah!" And as soon as that happened, my like anxiety shot through the roof, and I just crashed,
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah,
completely.
Winter Wagon, I feel like everyone like not to be like grody or anything, but they like bust their nut way before. It's like
Mhm.
I get it though. You get like super stoked, and then by the time that the contest is happening, you'd be like, I've been skating for like 4+ hours now, and like so.
See, I'm used to that though on the weekend because I get one day. I get like maybe one day, 2 days during the week where I get like an hour and some change maybe, but on the
Okay.
weekend I'll do like a full work shift of skating. So like
Right.
I'm used to all that. It was just literally I started and just went to shit real fast. Um, so let's talk about what we really wanted to jump on, which is Skate Wagon. Um, can you tell me when you started Skate Wagon and how you decided to go about getting it started?
So I guess it would have been shit. I didn't look back on this. I think 2021 we were officially a business, or maybe it was 2022. It's like been 3 years now, coming up
Okay.
on four. The summer event is like what is like the beginning, I guess you would say. So we started off. I just had like I was coming out of a really rough spot in life, and I had my grandfather pass, who was like one of the most inspirational and like positive male figures in my life. And I just felt like I needed to like do something at that moment. I was like, again, coming out of a rough patch and was thinking that if I didn't do something positive or just like anything to get my head out of that, like there was a chance that I'd just fall back into it. So the homies and us were talking about doing contests and fundraisers for Quarryville. So that was like the first whatever date that I think it was like August 28th or something of 2020 or 2021. One of those was like the first. And then after that, we were like, oh shit, like there's like a scene around here. Why don't we try and keep doing this? So we did the first Tricks for Treats. And then
Hmm.
after that, we were gonna do the Winter Wagon. And real quick, we realized that with renting the buildings and stuff like that, and just like then they needed insurance, and it just got really serious really quick. So instead of sole proprietoring it, and then if something happens, it comes down on me, and like my fucking cars take, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
just start a business. And we were already kind of like starting brand and apparel stuff, like getting that in
Mhm.
mind. So with working with Sika, they're like a private nonprofit. So we were like, all right, we're just going to be like a brand that just hosts events and just try and raise as much money as possible. Cause that was my local park as a kid.
Okay.
So that was, all through probably like the end of middle school into like all of high school was just where I would go all the time. I was a floater as a kid,
Mhm.
so I went to a bunch of different schools, but I would always find myself back at Quarryville once I like met with that group of people.
Okay. So it started out as more of like, what can we do to help the skate community? And then you start adding like apparel into it, and then the
Yeah, for
skateboard
sure.
decks came along.
Yeah, because it was like it's all cool to like throw these events and stuff, but it also costs money. Like there's
Of
some
course.
times where like Winter Wagon, we have to like put forth money before we even start making any money or like
Hmm.
get vendors involved or anything. So it's like there needs to be capital for it. And I mean, what better way than, just sell some shirts, hats, boards. Like we didn't even start with boards at first. We just did apparel. And then we
Right.
did a collab with Big L and did boards, and people were fucking loving it. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Like I really didn't want to do that right away, but it
Hmm.
just seemed like it
It
went
took
off.
off.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, if people are like really fucking with it, because I didn't want to be that dude that's just like, oh, another fucking skateboard brand. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Try and make it as original as possible.
See, what I came to know, like, so when I first got introduced to Skate Wagon was first via Instagram and seeing like the logo of the wagon and just saying Skate Wagon. And then it was Winter Wagon. I think it was the second Winter Wagon because the first one I couldn't go to.
Was it in a
Um,
smaller building?
I think the second one I went to, I think was in the same building we were in this year.
Okay.
Okay, because last year was a smaller building, if I remember correctly. I felt like
Nah,
everything
I
was jam
think
packed.
you might have it flipped. The second year, I fucking shit the bed and I didn't rent out the place soon enough.
Gotcha.
So we got stuck with a building that had like, it was like shorter and it was also lower ceilings. It was still a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
time. It was just
Oh
like,
yeah, no.
being on top
Every
of
year
a
has been
quarter
great.
and it's like only a 10-foot ceiling, you're on a
Hmm.
4-foot quarter and you're 6 foot, like you're already capping. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, because and that was the year that the year that the second year was the year you introduced the ledges with the grass gap,
yeah, the
right?
ledge garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first year back for me for skateboarding. No,
Oh, damn.
that was my first year going to you. It was that summer that I tore my knee. And
Okay.
then Winter Wagon the following year was my first, which was 2023, was yeah, 2023. I think it was 2023. That was my first state contest back after tearing my knee.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So
So,
I was,
see, then we started 2021.
yeah,
That makes, yeah, 2021 was the first one.
yeah. So I mean, that's how I got introduced to skate wagon and watching some of the things that you do, especially with what's happened with Quarryville. I mean, that skate park went from being kind of ragged but gnarly
Oh, for
to
sure.
now being complete. Like there's so many improvements and they're still coming because of the
Yeah.
efforts that you're putting in.
Yeah, I mean it's been a little bit slow. We so
Hmm.
the last phase, we instead of like pushing for more concrete, everyone was like trying to get lights, lights, lights. So
Hmm.
that was like the second phase was just get lights, and it wasn't as much as what we wanted. But again, when you're doing shit like this, it's like you just gotta like take what they give you, and like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's their fucking park. It's, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so I just try and help out as much as possible. And like they're digging the holes, trying to like save money just to like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I mean, there's always something you got to pay for, supplies and all this stuff. But
So
uh,
give me a ballpark idea of how much you've donated into the Quarryville skate park.
I'd say we're probably close to 10 now, to be
Okay.
honest, if not more. I know the first phase was like, I want to say like 6,000,
Hmm.
which it wasn't a lot, but it was at the same time. It was like basically my first thing was I wanted to clean the dinge. Like you said, it was kind
Hmm.
of like dingy. There was just like stuff there. Like the stairs made no sense since day one. Like you would carve around the bowl to hit it, and like your face would be so close to the wall. It was just like dangerous to skate as stairs. So, and then everyone put plywood on the stairs anyway, turned it into a Euro. So it was like just literally fix what's already there and what we know we want. And
Right.
then from there, we can just like the next phase will be the whole back section with the two quarters, like
Hmm.
filling that out with like a whole section to kick you back.
Hmm.
So it's not just those two, because now you like the locals, we know how to hit the Euro. It's so sketchy, but like you if you roll in and then dodge between the spine and the rail, it's like
Hmm.
you can make it. But at the same time, like I would love to have a clean straight shot to be able to like nollie three up it or something. You know what I mean? The
Hmm.
setup is like all crazy right now to be able to even do something like that.
Now, for me, I just started learning Euros, because I'll go to the yard, and that's like my winter spot
Okay.
during. So they have a Euro now. It's pretty. It's not gnarly, but it's nice and mellow enough that I can start working on it. Because before I wouldn't do that because I was always afraid I'll clip, and that's
Yeah.
always my luck is I'm gonna clip. But now that I'm kind of getting used to it, um, I'm trying to step up to different Euros myself. Um, so you've done collaborations. You talked about, I think you said Big L,
Yep.
and then you've done collaborations with like Jake Rupp and Chad Kramer. Tell me how some of these collaborations have come about.
Got the Kramer right there.
I see it. I can see it in the background.
Yeah. So all right, we'll start off with the Kramer thing. Uh so when like it was never an idea to like initially is starting this, like none, if I would have looked back prior to starting this, all of this would have made no sense to me, like as to it actually happening and being like something possible. Ironically enough, the first skateboard that I was given at 8 or 9 was a Chad Kramer board. Ironically, my
Okay.
mom worked with I can't remember his name right now, but the guy from Derelict Hotel, like he had Chad. I actually have it right here. I still have this board. And I got
It's
him to like sign it when I fucking
okay.
went over and like, but so that was just like super weird to me that like when I was given that, I knew nothing at 8 or 9. And all I knew was that it was someone local, like from Lancaster County on a skateboard. And as a kid,
Hmm.
that was fucking nuts. Like, whoa, like you're giving me this thing, but also like this thing is like someone who lives in the same area as me's pro model. Like that's like just taking it in all at that moment was like super, super crazy to me. So when we first started this, obviously getting involved with the scene, not like coming in and just like making riffage right away, just like, hey, would you like to be involved in this? We want to be involved in whatever you guys are doing, and like just showing support. I feel like a lot of people don't understand just showing up somewhere and like buying hoodies, buying like
Hmm.
whatever, just like going to your local shop and supporting is like number one. And along with like Chad and the warehouse and stuff like that, like just getting a key and like supporting what's already going on. So I feel like all that with like not the riffage or anything like that. And then just like getting to know him more. I never really knew Chad. And then just kind of like brought the idea of like, hey, would you want to do like a guest board with us? And he was like, yeah. The only thing, or I said, do you want to do a guest board with us? You can pick like whoever you want to do the design. Like I'm down to collab however you want. And he's like, yeah, the only thing is I want Sieber to do a ZZ Top cover. And I was like, fuck yeah. Because my grandfather that passed had a 32. This is a 34, but 32,
Okay.
they look super similar. So I was like, dude, like the stars just aligned in like this crazy way. And I was like, all right, like this is meant to fucking happen for some reason. Moving forward from that, the Rupp thing happened just by again like being in the scene, just meeting him for the first time. Like I
Hmm.
remember Brent actually was like one of my favorites as a kid, as well as Tosh Townend. Like for
Hmm.
some reason he just looked cool,
Gosh.
and I was like, that dude's so cool. Like, and then I like just remembered that the Elementality video Jake shared a part with Tosh Townend. And
Yeah.
like as a kid, when I'm watching that shit, like, does it really sink in? No, but like watching back on it, I'm like, dude, like I literally grew up, you know what I mean? And like talking to everyone, it's like the local legend of this
Hmm.
area. Like he claims Maryland and PA. Like everyone that I come across is just like, dude, Jake Rupp's fucking, you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah. I mean, he
so that was
rips.
super cool to like, I basically, we invited him on a trip when we went to New York with Ignition. We did like a collab video. And again, just like building like a relationship with him. And then I was like, well, fuck, like, why not just try, like, see, you know what I mean? And he was like super about it. And again, I was like, yo, however you want to design wise or whatever. He had his friend Matt, always wanted to do a board for him. So that was cool to like,
Hmm.
again, entwine something else that like was meaningful to hit to Jake and to Matt and like to us was it was just again nothing like super pushy, just like
You're
again organic and like just yeah, just I don't
right.
know, man. It's one of those things again where if you really like push on something, it's like not gonna like more than likely happen.
I mean, and you touched on like these are full on collabs. Like you're like, hey, whatever you want the graphic to be, and they're like, oh, well, I want to use this person, and they're going to design the graphic, and it just comes out really wholesome. I think once you drop the Jake Rupp board, I was in the middle of doing the bounty contest here in Delaware, and so I had actually gotten two of the Jake Rupp boards,
Yeah,
and like I love the shape just because like that shape was perfect for flipping. Like I'm a
yeah,
heel flipper, so like anything heel flip was flipping really nice and popped. And I don't always have control over how much pop I have in those heels, but that board I could actually control
that's good
how
to
much it was
hear.
flipping. Yeah, like it was gnarly. Like I loved it.
Hell
Um
yeah.
it lasted me a good while too, because I tend to go through boards like one a month or one every couple of months. I think that one lasted me about 3 months, give or take.
Damn.
Yeah, so and like I'm heavier for a short guy. I'm pretty heavy too. So like I tend to like break boards from doing stupid stuff.
I
Like
feel
I'll
well,
board slide a rail and
I'm heavy footed. So
yeah.
like I go through if I don't watch it, like lip slides really get me because I'll like huck over my back and
Hmm.
just slam it to make sure it's in. And like, yeah, no, I feel I'm heavy footed too. Like I'll crack a board so quick if I'm not fucking gentle. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
trying to throw it in and keep it.
So you've put together, so you do like a summer event, a fall event, and then of course the winter wagon event,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, we
So
kind of like every year there's something that always one year we didn't do the tricks for treats.
mhm,
Instead, we did a thing in Denver with Armament Concrete.
okay.
Uh, it just all depends. It's always the summer one and then the winter one.
Okay.
And then in between there, again, I try and do local shows,
Mhm.
uh, even just like apparel releases or like
Mhm.
product releases. We did for Jake and for Chad, we did product releases. So
And
just
for the
like
new
again,
line that you just
filling
did in the new colors, right?
what's that?
And the new line that you just put out, like the beanie that you're wearing and
Yeah, yeah. So just again, and that was a show we had
mhm.
what band House It,
Okay.
Laddie and Adrian from Big Eleanor Records, shout out.
Okay.
And then the homie from Towards Space. I'm spacing
Mhm.
so hard right now, but she is a director and has been doing her own short film. So again, it was like that's something I always try and do. I started understanding apparel and all that stuff
Mhm.
from a band that I was in, and I would run all that stuff. And just like the connections and like meeting new people and that really transitioned into this oddly enough. Like just understanding again how to like order shit or like set up a
Mhm.
file to get printed or reaching out to bands and also being someone in a band I know and like I know that it's appreciated when like you don't keep asking people for free shit. Like the summer one, we really try and like raise as much as possible. So like most of the music on that one, I'll like ask if they can donate their time. But almost every other event other than that summer one, like I'm trying to like put some money in these bands' pockets too to like just out of respect and like I get the hustle. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
cool to do some free stuff for the community every now and then, but like when you keep asking, it's like fuck. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. It's hard because you want to have that balance between like if in order to keep a business open, even if it's a nonprofit, you have to be bringing in money.
yeah.
And I've worked
Well,
with like non.
we're not a nonprofit. I'll get that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we're an LLC. That's where Sika, they're a nonprofit, and I was like,
Gotcha.
all right, we're just gonna like be a brand. And again, I'll like fork whatever I need to like for bands at certain events or stuff
Hmm.
like that. But like again, just like putting forth that for them and then we're our own entity in that aspect of things. Sorry, I just
Well,
wanted to
no,
clarify
no, no.
just to
Even no matter what kind of business you have, you still have to bring in capital, right? To keep it
for sure.
running, and keep, whoever like so it's you, it's America, and
Yep.
she's your partner, and
Yep.
then anybody else that's involved in Skate Wagon, or is it really just
Yeah,
you two?
so the silent partner I'd say is Anthony Giannini from
Okay.
Necessity CBD. Since day one, he's like been my right hand man. I joke because
Hmm.
America's left handed, so she's my left hand lady, and Tony's my right hand man. Like both of them have been there since day one, and just like whatever you need, whatever. Like I know I can get fucking hectic, and like
Hmm.
with certain events, it's like, all right, fuck. I know like afterwards, like me and America just need to not talk about business for like a week or so and just like
Hmm.
decompress. But like, yeah, Tony since day one, the big quarters are his. That used to be his mini ramp in his garage. So like that was
Okay.
the first thing we did for Winter Wagon was like, all right, let's just break this thing down, make two quarters out of it. Like, but yeah,
Dude.
no, Tony. from Necessity CBD. Shout out, day one homie right there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really get stuff together. Like, just the Winter Wagon event, like, just going to that one is insane enough. Like, and there's got to be a lot of work that you guys put into it. Sounds like you guys start planning out months in advance, trying to figure out, okay, what bands are we going to have? Which vendors are coming?
Yeah.
Um, I know you had messaged me right before I kind of got restarted with this. I think I want to say back in like December, maybe about it. And like I hadn't really restarted the channel yet. Um, it was something that me and a lot of guys have been talking about, and I was like, I don't know, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Um, my wife, who is a godsend, was like, look, just do it. She was like, I really want you to do it because it's something that you enjoy. And what I really like, just like you, is getting local brands and local artists on. Um, this time around, I want to bring in bands too because I I grew up around music. I've always played music, and just I love going to shows, whether it's local or, something bigger in Philly. Like, I love going to shows. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about Winterwagon is like you have all these different things. You have all these great vendors, right? Small businesses and some bigger ones. And by bigger ones, I mean like the skate shops that come in. And then you have these bands play, and like I never heard Coffee with Lions, and yet I was like, holy shit, they are awesome. Like they wail. And then of course Chumps, I got introduced, I think, from one of your videos where you played Reagan Can't Skate, and I was like, that's a great song. And I ended up getting the whole EP.
Yeah.
And then of course, like getting them to see live, which was on my bucket list for 2025.
There
Thank you
you
very
go.
much. It was great, dude. I really had a lot of fun with that. And then the mix, right? The rap and R&B with, the punk and like hardcore. It's just there's an ebb and flow to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so first off, shout out to Chumps. Me and Chumps go back, man. They used to be a band that we used to play with on the regular. So, like, the fact that I can incorporate them and bring them into this, you know what I mean? Like, it's so cool.
Craziness.
Uh, with them, so since day one, I've always wanted to have like a mix of things because if you look
Mhm.
at the skate culture, it's not just one genre. You know what
No,
I
not at
mean?
all.
And I mean, as skaters, we kind of have like an artistic mindset to begin with. So, like,
Hmm.
it comes down to like skating, art, and music. It's all intertwined. Like, you look at a skate video, it's literally all of that. So,
Hmm.
with that, yeah, I mean, you know, the hip hop scene in Lancaster is really, really good right now. Like, I'm not trying to blow smoke up their ass, but like, they really have it down. Like, there's a lot of good people coming out of Lancaster right now. Like, the underground hip hop scene, it's probably doing better right now than the punk scene in Lancaster. Like, there's so many shows. It's wild. Like, and it's all DIY stuff.
Hmm.
And it's all the same mentality. That's the other thing I realized like years ago. Just like, dude, you listen to like as corny as this is gonna say, like NWA, that's the most punk ass shit. Like, it was
Hmm.
like, fuck you, fuck the authority, like, we're gonna do us. You know what I mean? Like, how punk's a mindset. It's not a style. It's like,
Hmm.
it's just how you carry yourself and like just pushing forward as you being your original self and like with a little bit of aggression, like,
Hmm.
fuck, dude, I'm gonna get pissed off if I have to keep dealing with this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
so
And
go ahead.
I'm a big fan of NWA, and like I was always that weird like punk rock, white kid, tight pants, longish hair and everything. But a lot of people didn't know I listened to like NWA, DMX, um, because of the aggressiveness. Like, it was something that I really enjoyed with them and could connect with, right? And I think that's the big thing about music is you're always trying to connect with that emotion. It doesn't always have to be lyric specific, right? And that's what got me into punk in the first place was the aggression. Like one of the
Yeah, for
first
sure.
bands that I heard. wasn't even punk, it was corn. And it was the first album I ever heard was Life is Peachy. And that was my
Okay.
brother was listening to them. And then I slowly evolved into more of like the punk and like hardcore stuff. And then
Okay.
of course metalcore and emo and all that. Shit, I was probably one of the original emo kids here in Delaware. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like it was great. Delaware used to have a big music scene, and now
Yeah.
I have to leave Delaware to go see anything except for Bar 13 in Claymont. That's the
Yeah.
only place that puts on any like decent punk, like
Well, dude,
legitimate punk stuff.
it's rough out there right now for venues and stuff like that,
Hmm.
man. Like just the music industry alone is like, man, it's rough right now. Like music, you don't sell records anymore. Like, so there's half your income that you're looking at as an artist, and then like venues seem to be like coming few and far between. Lancaster is dry right now. Like we have a couple venues, like decent venues, but other than that, there's like only a few DIYs, and like that's where you, as a starting artist, you cut your teeth and you like play to three people that just show up. You know what I mean? Like, and just figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, you
Hmm.
can't do that at a regular venue like Telus or uh, what's the one in Millersville? Um, Space Phantom Power. You know what I mean? That's like an
Yeah.
actual venue. So like, yeah, I mean, dude, everywhere right now, the DIY scene is it's alive and well, but it's spaced
Yeah.
out. You know what I mean? There's some good spots, but there's few spots, it seems.
I think one band that I think I'd like to see play Winter Wagon or just any like something for Skate Wagon. My buddy Matt, he skates. He plays actually in a couple of bands, but one of the bands is called Mind Slime. And
Okay.
they've been playing the Delaware, the Newark punk rock flea market and stuff,
Hell
but
yeah.
they're really cool. Like and he's been in the punk scene for years. I mean, he's played in everything from metal to punk to like um what's his one band? He plays in a band now called Twitching Witches.
Okay.
Um, so they're like rockabilly.
Oh,
And,
nice.
and I'm somebody that I didn't even like rockabilly, but then I listened to some of his stuff. He introduced me to some other stuff, and I was like, wow, this is actually not bad at all. Um, but
I
yeah,
mean,
dude.
fucking the Cramps, dude. That's like,
Hmm.
I fucking love the Cramps. That's some rockabilly right there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude. My music taste is fucking everywhere. I'll straight up like, let's go. It'll go from Bad Brains or like
Uh-huh.
it's just like hardcore shit to I'll listen to Dusty Springfield.
Okay.
What's dude? I vibe so hard on Eric Burden and War. You know, War Lowrider.
Yeah.
Eric Burden's from the Animals, so those two like mesh together is the craziest. But it's not like aggressive. Like,
Hmm.
dude, since I don't know if it's me getting older or what, but I appreciate so much type of music now.
Yeah. So kind of wrap up, like, dude, I was going to ask you, like, what does it take to put together one of these events? But you talked about, like, you have to reach out to people, get vendors, you have to schedule the time, at the venues and all. So you kind of really broke that down already without me even having to ask. Um, do you have any, like, final parting words for, like, anybody who wants to, like, maybe start a brand or start something similar where they run events?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's I know when I was a kid, I was super rammy and I just wanted it my way. And like, you just got to like step back sometimes and you got to like get involved with the scene. Like, you can't just expect people to want to like fuck with you right away just
Hmm.
because it's like something that you're starting up. Like, show the support before you expect the support. I think that that's like the biggest
Hmm.
thing that I would say, as well as like just giving back to the community. I think that's something that we've like prided ourselves on since day one is like actually doing something, like giving the scene
Hmm.
something rather than like taking away. Like, obviously, I'm trying to sell product, but I also want to give the scene something as well. And like, two big events a year is like more than what was going on before we started. So I mean, I'm more than thankful for everyone, like all the sponsors, vendors, even just the people that help us. Like, I couldn't run Winter Wagon. Me and America could not run Winter Wagon by ourselves.
Hmm.
It takes the group to help unload, help load, like, and that happens two different times. You know what I mean? And then just like everything, you know what I mean? It's running the stands, just
Hmm.
that's another thing is having a good support system. I feel is another important thing. Just like keeping it true to like the homies and just feeding the scene. Just feed the scene. Don't expect to take if you can't give. That would be
Hmm.
my advice at the end of the day, for sure.
Look, man, you've got a really good team. It's a small team, but it's a close team. And I feel like more in the past probably 2 years, I've seen a lot more of America involved and like her energy, just bringing it in. I'm hoping to see more like ladies get involved because there are a lot of girl skaters out there,
Oh,
but
for
it's like
sure.
it's rare that you get anywhere that one holds a women's contest, right? The only two that I've seen is you and Garage Door, that have really run that. And now us older guys are starting to get a platform, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I appreciate everything you guys have done, and I appreciate you coming on. I think that's one of the things that kept me going in skateboarding because there was a point where I was questioning, like, I'm older, I might stop skating, and then I started going to the skate wagon events, and I was like, wow, like this is gnarly. And then of course, like my homie with First State, like he was holding his events. It was like, dude, come down, and like
James.
yeah, and
Shout
that's like
out
an hour
James,
drive for
dude.
me. So like I head down to him. Like literally I live an hour from Lancaster, or I live an hour from Rehoboth. So
Yep.
I'm like, dude. So I started going down there too. And it's just been amazing to have these. What's up, everybody? Lost Boy Skates here. Just wanted to let everybody know that Zach and I's interview actually got cut off. There was another like 3 to 5 minutes that we did via FaceTime. And I really just wanted to cover what that conversation was about. Zach really brings up a really good point about women's skateboarding and how we don't have enough representation in women's skateboarding. Uh, Most recently, there's been quite a lot of contests where there have been invitations for women to come and skate, and there just haven't been that many. Garage Door last spring had a really good turnout for um, how many women showed up and skated. Uh, you guys are underrepresented, and we both think that our ladies deserve that platform just like any other person to go out and skate in contests and have fun. um, Skateboarding is a safe place, and that was something that him and I also talked about, and we both said, if there's ever any issues at any events, you should feel safe enough to go up to any of the vendors, any of the people who are running the contest, and be able to say something if you feel uncomfortable or somebody made you feel uncomfortable. That was really it. That's something that I felt was really important to hit on, that Zach and I had mentioned. Additionally, Zach really made a good point. If you're looking to do something with skateboarding and support the community, you have to first be a part of the community. And then you have to not have an expectation that people are going to give you handouts, right? I think Zach really summed it up really well about how to do something with the skate community and how to be a support. I really enjoyed talking with Zach about these things. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the podcast so far. More interviews are coming, more things are coming to the channel.